Hey everyone, and welcome to another week of What Does It Look Like? Right now we're on week 2 of our Letters to the Exiles talks. Now, Letters to the Exiles is this incredible small group series that we are working through, and you should totally check it out. Their website will be in the link below this video, and you will see a clip from their series in this video later on. And I'm just so thankful for Evan and his team for making such a solid study that we can learn how to be Christians in our world today. So, last week we talked about where we fit into this world as Christians, how we are exiles and foreigners in a strange land who are tasked with seeking the welfare, the blessing of the cities in which God has placed us in. And this week we're going to talk about work. So, how does work in exile? It puts a roof over our head, it pays our bills, and in that regard, it's pretty straightforward. But how does that contribute to our cities, to our society? When you think of the word economy, what does that mean to you? Does it fill your mind with images of a cold, impersonal machine, an unwieldy nest of levers and gears crammed with people trying to survive as cogs within a machine as we run the rat race together? In that sense, work is only about utility, about our efficiency, about our progress as people. So what happens if that's all that work is? That work is a way to meet the needs through this cold and fragmented machine. But consider with me, what if the world's economy was something much more personal, much more meaningful, more beautiful, mysterious? Perhaps our daily work is a call to reflect a creative God. So we're going to explore the goodness of work, how it fits into God's economy of all things, that work is a gift. So let's chat. Is work merely about utility, efficiency, and progress? Our culture tells us that it is. If you look at our North American economy, you see that people look to climb the corporate ladder, to live the American dream or the Canadian dream, to be entrepreneurs, to schedule every 15 minutes of our day so we are more productive, so we are more efficient with our lives. I was even taught that in Bible college. In fact, work burnout is viewed as a good thing in our culture, as it shows one's dedication to their company. In fact, in Japan, if you fall asleep at your desk from exhaustion, your employers are happy because it shows you're so dedicated to your work. Isn't that crazy? But our system of work, our focus as a culture, it destroys people. It destroys marriages, children. It destroys our mental health. And it's all about one thing: profit at the cost of everything else. But that can't be all that God has planned for us, can it? Check out this video here from the Letters to the Exiles team.
Hey everybody.
Hi.
We're going to read a book today. It's called The Ungiving Tree. Well, we're going to read this book, and I want you to ask some questions, because we're going to talk about this book. The Ungiving Tree. Once there was a tree. Da-da-da-da. Once there was a tree that had so much to give. It had branches to climb, it had leaves to jump in, and fruit to eat. But this tree wanted to keep these gifts to himself.
That's not very nice.
Every autumn, children would come and try to gather the tree's leaves and make piles to climb and play in. And the tree would call the police.
It doesn't have any arms. How would he make a phone?
Well, let's see what it does. Every spring, children would try to climb up this trunk and swing from the branches. That look fun? And the tree would release his pet python, Larry.
What?
Look at this. Larry ate the little boy.
Wow, that tree is mean.
The tree decided it had had enough. Well, never again is anyone to climb my branches or rest in my shade. My fruit and my leaves, they are mine, mine, mine. And the tree took all that he had and held it all in for months and years. And soon hardly anyone remembered the story of the tree that had so much to give. The end. So do you like my book?
But I thought the whole story was interesting. Doesn't Regular eat any of the fruit on top?
So what's the purpose of a tree?
To climb, gather leaves. Trees give us wood to build some houses.
They do? What, Josh? What are trees supposed to do?
Without trees, we wouldn't have any paper. And trees give you fresh air.
So are you telling me that it's the nature of a tree to give?
Yeah.
That video was a really good example of showing us what work isn't, of showing us the shortcomings of how we may view work today, its purpose, and how we treat it. So, what is the role of our work in God's economy of all things? Well, I think we need to realize that it's not about ourselves. That's easy to say as a pastor because, my job, the very nature of my job is to serve others. But how does that work for all jobs, for everyone's jobs? We forget that God put us on this earth to work. We are made in His image, and part of His purpose for us, He is a maker, and we are to be makers in our own way. The problem is, after the fall, work became hard, it became toilsome. God said to Adam that because of his sin, he will now struggle in his work. So work was always part of God's purpose for us as humans. But we've forgotten the goodness of it, why work is so good. So that makes sense. So why is that, you might be asking? Well, through our work, our calling is revealed, our purpose. And in our calling, we create the goods and the services that benefit people, meeting their needs and their desires, and creating opportunities for them to see Jesus. Let's consider, for example, a carpenter. Have you ever considered how much work goes into a piece of furniture? Well, this pulpit here began as a grove of trees, a part of a forest. And someone decided to sell these trees. So they hired a forester, a lumberjack, to clear them up and to sell them. So the owner gets paid for the trees and the forester gets a product. Both profit from this exchange, and in the exchange a profit is made. Well, you see, it's in the relationship where the value is found. Individually, the tree that the homeowner had and the forester, there's no money made. There's no profit made. It's through their relationship that value is shown. That's where the profit comes in. So the trees then go to a lumber yard where the wood is exchanged for money, which the forester uses to pay his employees, to feed his family, to send his kids to school. And as his employees take their profit and use it, and soon this exchange of relationships, these purchases, ripple out like a network throughout the country, throughout the world. And we see the relationship. We see that our work is not just struggle. It's not just toil. It doesn't involve just us. It's something that creates massive relationships. Let's look back at the carpenter who made this pulpit here. We see his skill. We see his beautiful finished work here. But what we don't see is the many, many hands that went into making this possible. And it's the same thing for you, whether you're a janitor, a CEO, a movie producer, a computer programmer, no matter what you do, when you work, you are exercising the creativity that God has given you. But you're also collaborating with many people. So when we talk about the fruit of our lives, our work and our labors, it's not just the products that we make. It's the relationships, the fellowship, and the community that really, really matter. So whether we know it or not, we are tied in relationship to everyone who made, this pulpit. So everyone who made my phone, or this TV, or this building, or our cars, or our house. Every product you look at comes from the collaboration of many, many others. And there's something really, really cool that you can do at home with your family or your friends. You can find products from all over your house, devices, and just do a little bit of research. Find out what country it came from, what company made it, the kind of people who work for that, what their home lives are like. And it's very interesting to see how we're all interconnected in this great economy that God has created for us. But there's also another side to that. While we can trace back the products that we have in our homes today, we can also see products that are made in a wrong way. You know, many of the products we buy that we use are made by people being exploited, abused, and used in countries where there aren't fair laws to protect them. And so we have an opportunity to protect people, to love people, to show God to the world by where we choose to buy from. And equally importantly, where we choose not to buy from. I think that gives us a pretty clear picture of why our work really matters. And I hope you're encouraged today that no matter where you work, whether you think it's important or not, it does matter. It has value. You are vital to this community, to the broader community that God has created for all of us, to His economy of all things. And we hope this helps you to view work as much, much more than just the money you make or the title you might hold. We'll see you next week.